Hi, my name is Rod Khleif, and I'm the host of the Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing podcast. And every week I interview multifamily rock stars, and we talk about how they've built incredible wealth for themselves and their families through multifamily properties. So hit the like and subscribe buttons to get notified every Monday when a new episode comes out. Let's get to it. Welcome back to Multifamily Rockstars. So as you guys know, this is where we interview people that are crushing it in this business, and we show you the inside scoop in how multifamily investors are creating massive success, not just in their businesses, but also in their lives. As always, I've got my co-host, who's the director of our massive action team for our Warrior Group, Mark Nagy, on the call. Mark, what's going on, brother? What's happening?
Man, really excited for today's call just because our guest, I remember enrolling him a little while back. He's crushing it, getting into some more deals, building his business, and I'm excited to see on where he's at. And hey, we'll hopefully meet each other, not virtually soon, in Orlando in December and get back to that.
Oh, yeah. So we've got Eyal Ohana, and Eyal actually lives in my backyard here. So he's been over to my house. We've had coffee together, and he's a super, super nice guy. And he's in over 1,100 doors as a GP and an LP. And he's in some of our deals actually as an LP, and now is actually a general partner in this latest deal we did in San Antonio. So welcome to the show, brother. It's good to see you. Good to have you here.
Rod, Mark, thank you very much for having me. It really is an honor. Rod, all I got to say about yourself is I know the way you feel about Tony Robbins is the way I feel about you. So
that's kind of you, brother. That's kind of you. That's kind of you. Why don't you take a minute and talk a little bit about your background? I know you've been in accounting for 20 years, but just talk a little bit about that, why and how you got into real estate, and we'll just take it from there.
Yeah, so my background is an accountant, obviously a tax guy. I worked 15 years in New York City, then branched out on my own. Been on my own ever since, we want to say since 2013. Probably the best decision I ever made, to be honest with you. And again, I always love real estate. Obviously, being an accountant and seeing people's taxes, I see how they accumulated wealth, mostly through real estate. I owned the single families. I had headaches with those, to be honest with you, and stumbled upon your podcast. And since then, trying to educate myself about multifamily.
Love it. Well, so you get to see the inside scoop on people's finances. Okay. Right. I mean, to a level that nobody else gets to see. And you saw how many, people that were making money and building wealth and building their fortunes and creating legacy wealth through real estate. So, it's awesome to have that behind the scenes insight, from someone like yourself. So let me ask you this. So, was there an epiphany in all this that started this for you? Was there like, okay, I've had enough, or was there any one thing, or was it just a cumulative, seeing it over and over again that caused you to get started?
I think it was mostly seeing it over and over again. I mean, Thank God I've been successful. So I don't have a bad choice, let's put it that way. So I always loved multifamily. Always saw myself retiring that way. I never saw myself retiring as an accountant, just because the small firm that I was in, we had an older gentleman, always wore the big boy pants, thought who it was, till went to a seminar. And obviously they kind of hand them his ass, to be honest with you. He just basically, they told him, listen, the older you get, the more you're diminishing your own asset. Your client is just as old as you, passing away, what have you. There's got to be an exit strategy to this game. And thinking about that a lot, that kind of made me make the switch. And try to obviously bring this while I'm still young, cultivate this, and hopefully sell out my practice at one point.
Yeah, nice.
So how do you think that experience, with numbers and obviously working with people, how has that helped you translate over into the multifamily business?
So I've always been a people's person. I love that aspect of it. Believe it or not, dealing with numbers, you thought I would gravitate to the analysis portion of it.
Yeah.
I really gravitate to the people portion of it. So like helping Rod in the latest deal, obviously raising some funds. I feel like that's my niche, to be honest.
Wow. Yeah, you've done a really great job, and you've helped, behind the scenes as well with due diligence work that we're doing and CapEx evaluation that we're doing. But you've killed it with, bringing investors to the deal. And, and those of you that don't know, I've purchased well over 2,300 doors with Warriors, deals that were brought to us from Warriors. Warriors invested in them, like Eyal became, Eyal's now a GP in this deal with us. He's the general partner in it. And we're certainly going to do more deals together because he's been a delight to work with. And so, that's just, that just goes to show you how this business is a team sport and how it's all about who you know and you network with and you build alliances with. But let me ask you this, Eyal, what words of wisdom would you share with listeners that are thinking about this business that haven't taken action yet, that, they know they want to do this and they haven't pulled the trigger for whatever reason, maybe analysis paralysis? What would you tell them about, with what you know so far?
I think the best thing that I could recommend to them is obviously get educated. We're in a place right now where the market is on fire, very hard to find deals. This is definitely the time to buckle down and just get educated. If you have a drive, a half hour, 45 minutes, just put on a podcast. You learn a lot. Yeah. Very valuable lessons there.
Thank you. Yeah. And by the way, guys, we've got our Orlando boot camp coming up. We're going to be live again, December 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And I will tell you, I've had thousands of people come to my events, and the only complaint I've ever gotten is the room's too cold, or if it is, and food sucked at the hotel, but that's it, and we go through every aspect of this business, the 3 full days. It's not a big sales pitch. Sure, I'll talk about the Warrior Group for about 30 minutes, but that's it. And yeah.
Speaking about that, I mean, obviously we're coming fresh off the Warrior Group, which was just an amazing event.
Well, you came to our Warrior Only event, which we had here in Sarasota. Correct. And we're going to have another one of those the end of March. So we have those every year, a couple times a year, where just Warriors get together and network, because this business is all about your network. You've got to build a team. You've got to find, people to align with. I mean, I know you're in a 36 unit JV with another Warrior right now, a recent deal you just did. So we do these Warrior Only events
as well. I'm not going to name drop, but we just had a coach and a student who said they made $3 million on a land deal purely because we put together that live event and because they met each other and networked in person, and they just did a $3 million profit land deal recently. That's right. That's the power of getting together in person.
Right. Amazing. Yeah. So we do the 2-day Warrior Only event. And we do deep dives on deal analysis and area analysis. And that's kind of what we do, but it's more about the networking. But let me ask you this. Now you're getting rolling on this. Have you had to make any sacrifices so far? I mean, you've got a family, you've got your core job, it's not all, the cash paychecks. You've got to actually buckle down. So can you speak to sacrifice at all and how you manage that?
Yeah. I mean, basically when COVID hit, obviously back in, I would want to say March of 2020. Am I correct about that?
Yeah, exactly.
Basically, we took our whole family. So it's myself, my wife, and 4 girls. So that's why I'm bald, by the way.
That's a lot of estrogen. That's a lot of estrogen. Just saying.
Probably helped with your people skills a lot.
Yes.
Right.
So my practice is still in Staten Island, New York. We lived in Jersey at the time and physically packed up everybody and moved them out here to Sarasota. Number one, to be closer to you guys, yourself and Robert, because I feel like I'll gain a lot more experience that way. And number 2, just because Florida was always our end goal. It just came much faster than we expected.
Yeah. Well, listen, if not now, when, right? That was one of my dad's famous lines. If not now, when? Love it.
Well, time, that's actually something I know we were just talking about, which I know you're still kind of working on, maybe struggling with, if you want to use that word. But as a business owner and a family man, someone with kids, that's a lot of the people that we talk to that have families and businesses and things like that. How do you find the time to also do multifamily? And can you give any tips on people that might be in the same position?
So I'm an early riser, so I like the morning time. I get a lot done before the phone rings. I find a lot of time that way. Between the hours of, I want to say 12 to 3:30 p.m., I become an Uber driver, getting my girls back and forth from school.
No, that's always fun. I was going to say, bullshit. There's no way you're doing Uber. Okay. Okay.
So, funny. Obviously 3 of them are teenagers. They all have activities going on in school. And we try to obviously accommodate and take them to as much as possible, of course. Then, of course, late nights, got to sit by the computer and hopefully catch up on stuff that I missed. If it's podcasts, if it's underwriting, and now obviously I'm committed to, as of October, I'm committed to obviously reach out to more warriors and obviously get into more groups. That way I keep my my education going.
Yeah, and your options open. I mean, you have so many deals. You know, when you're aligning with other warriors and groups inside the warrior group. You know, I tell my warriors, the most successful warriors I've got are the ones that are most connected. And you took it to heart, which is why you're in all these deals. So
I must say it's amazing though, Rod, because number one, obviously a warrior group is just amazing. But to get that first deal done, even if as a passive investor, it just opens up so many more doors. It's unimaginable. And as far as the GP deal in Sedona right now, just to be on those calls, lessons that you cannot pay for. Let's put it
That's the San Antonio deal he's talking about that you're a GP
correct.
on. Yeah. No, I mean, you know, you just get all the behind the scenes stuff. And, you know, and even our passive investors, you know, we did an educational webinar about some of the behind the scenes stuff that happened in the deal, and they loved it. I mean, we had all of our investors on that deal. And yeah, so let me ask you this, you know, you're analytical because you're a CPA, I mean, goes with the territory. Okay. How did you get over fear of doing this business when you first got started? Because a lot of analytical people really struggle with that. Now you're kind of an anomaly because I think you're more outgoing than you are analytical, which is really unusual for a CPA. But anyway, can you speak to fear for a minute?
That's the funny part about myself, to be honest with you. Even when I met with Robert, I had coffee with Robert a couple of times already. And basically, I can't say it better than I bet on the jockey compared to the horse. So I meet people, I feel like I can read them very well, and I just follow them. There's nothing else besides that. I'm the one to basically put my money up first before I would even worry about the analytical part of it. So I jump in hands first, and I actually find myself doing a better job at that because then it gets me more motivated to learn about the asset and learn about the group and not worry about the money aspect of it.
Well, so what do you think your initial thought process was, or shifting point that made you say, hey, I guess I want to, you know, get a mentor, somebody to push me in doing this? What was your shifting point to do that versus, you know, just continue being successful as a CPA?
I mean, like anybody else, again, I started with single family. I had one on the island. We had a couple of them in PA, and I was always getting frustrated. You know, everybody always tells you this hope and a dream that they can't live up to. They offer you that 16, 18% cash on cash returns. By the time you do the math and everything that breaks between you getting the rent payment, you're averaging about 7%. And I don't care what nobody says. And that's in a good day, you're averaging 7%. So it got to that point where my last Philly deal that we did, I kind of did a fire sale, got rid of that property, stumbled on Rod's podcast, listened ever since. And that was my jumping point to just jump into multifamily, not take any more of those chances.
Yeah. You know, thank you. You know, what have you learned? What's the most profound thing you think you've learned, you know, this year in the Warrior program? If there's anything that jumps out at you, or, you know, that's kind of an open-ended question, but, you know, what'll help you improve, you know, for next year, because we're getting near the end of the year.
I mean, I definitely learned that obviously everybody in that Warrior group are just there to help. No matter what you need, they'll help you out. The groups that they have, these groups have been running since I've been in the Warrior group, maybe 3 years going, and you just ask somebody to let you in the group and they have no problem with that. They want everybody to excel and
so what he's talking about, guys, is we've got lots of little subgroups inside the Warrior groups, accountability groups, underwriting groups, little mini masterminds. So that's what he's referencing there. Well, let me ask you this. Do you think that there's a particular type of person that's best suited for this business? Do you have any thoughts on that? I mean, do you think there's a particular type?
Like I said, I'm outgoing, so I just don't see that. I just see that it's somebody that gets very frustrated with what they're doing, want a better life for themselves and their family, and I just want to roll up their sleeves and learn. That's basically it, is what I feel. Yeah. I always say that, you know, we always ask, like, you always take a step back and you ask, why are there W-2 employees compared to self-employed people? And I feel like a lot of that is that people get too comfortable and are not willing to go out of their wheelhouse. If people were actually taking a step back, because I have I have family that have W-2 jobs. And the way I see them progressing, to be honest, is just going from one job to the next.
Yeah.
I just don't see that as a path. You know, if you really love what you're doing, then you should progress in your own job. It tells me that they don't like what they're doing. They're chasing the money. And that's like a hamster on a wheel, right? You're always going to chase that money. It's never going to come that easy. So
no, I mean, you know, we obviously love talking about the Warrior Group on these calls just because it's turned into this incredible ecosystem that I'm so freaking proud of. I believe now they've exceeded 46,000 doors that we know of.
wow.
That they own, and it just keeps
Probably
growing.
more.
It's probably closer to 50 grand. Honestly, there's so many that we don't even hear about anymore. But by the way, guys, if you are interested in the Warrior program, text the word crush to 72345 so we can help you crush it in this business like we've helped hundreds of other people. Again, that's crush to 72345. You know, are there any roadblocks that you think a newbie in the business should keep an eye out for? Any warning flags that you want to kind of throw out there?
It's a good question.
Yeah. I know you weren't ready for it. Just do the best you can.
I was not, but roadblocks. So again, I would basically say, like I said before, just get educated. Make sure that you're seeing like-kind people. You guys just hit it on the head. I mean, that the hardest part I guess that I was having is, number one, being an accountant. For some reason, we like to wear the big boy pants. Mm-hmm. So I got to be more team oriented. And number two is just surround yourself with like kind of people. And that's the hardest part. And I feel like the best move that we made to Florida is that we could be open and not be surrounded by family that wants to keep you there. And obviously, not that it's a bad thing, but they want to keep you grounded. So
well, I'll be a little more specific on that if I could. If someone's listening thinking, hey, maybe I'll start with that single family or a duplex or even a quadplex. And then, you know, later on, once I get more comfortable, I'll start to do multifamily then. If they're thinking that way, what would you tell them?
From experience, I would tell them to just go right into multifamily. Reason being is, again, we've been to the single family. It's another job, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. I mean, invest as a passive investor if you want. You will have nothing to do with it. You just put in your money and you'll get better returns that you would in a single family. So just little by little, get educated. If you want to create a job for yourself, if you have the time, then go single family. You'll get comfortable. But sometimes that comfort level keeps you grounded. It doesn't let you progress. So just be careful. That's all.
Yeah. So anybody that listens to this podcast is a leader. And right now the world needs leaders more than ever before. And I will tell you this, you know, one of the things as a leader, you've just got to be so careful what content you're consuming. Don't get me started on the freaking fake news and the politics right now. Stand guard at your mind, bring in the good stuff. Okay. Sure. But let me ask you a question, Eyal. What is one characteristic that you believe every leader should possess?
I think inspiration. I got inspired by you, Rod. I mean, I was never looking for this. I just stumbled on it. You inspired me because of your high energy and all the good things you have to say about everybody else. And I've been through that. Like I said, in my 15-year experience as an accountant, I've been through with a boss that, don't get me wrong, he was my mentor, my brother, but it seemed like when I was going to surpass him, that's when everything went astray. So I do believe that you want to inspire and obviously help people grow.
Oh, thank you for that. And let me just, actually that allows me to give a little coaching piece here because guys, in this business or any business, you've got to learn to love it or love it right out of the gate. And if you don't love it right out of the gate, you learn to love it because here's the thing, especially with multifamily real estate, and you can learn to love it. I mean, I tell my students, equate it to hunting for buried treasure. If you get frustrated because you're looking at so many deals, they're asking too much money, you're hunting for buried treasure. You're not going to be able to find that on the first pass. And so you can learn to love it. But if you can't learn to love it, for God's sakes, do something else. Here's why. Because this business is a team sport, you've got to be able to, communicate and build relationships, and people want to be around people that they can tell are passionate about what they're talking about. And that passion comes from loving what it is that you're doing. Okay. And so that love is just so critical. And of course, when you love what you do, work is play, right? You never work another day in your life. And so thank you for the kind words. That I wasn't looking for that, but it gives me an opportunity to talk about that because I tell people, build your competence first. For God's sakes, come see us in Orlando if you're not already, signed up for that. Build your competence first, and that'll equate to your confidence. But then you'll be able to influence people. But a part of that influence is passion. You've got to love it as well. And so that's just such a critical piece.
Well, real quick on that, for people listening, you heard Eyal say, hey, I'm doing underwriting, late at night when you got 4 girls at home and you're doing these things late at night on the weekends. And if you don't know what your inspiration is and why you're doing it, it's very easy to just fall away from that, right? And for those people listening that make multiple 6 figures, even 7 figures, you got to find that. You got to find your why, your inspiration, because it's really easy to just sit on that the rest of your life and not reach your fullest potential because your inspiration was just 6 figures or 7 figures or what other people told you should be successful with, not going into your own brain and looking at, okay, what is my own inspiration? What do I want to accomplish in this life? And I think that's a huge part of it.
Yeah. And let me circle back to something you said, Eyal, about your previous boss. You said that once you started being successful, he felt threatened, I think, really, or jealous or something. And guys, I was just talking about this on I got interviewed on another podcast, and they asked me what I thought my 3 biggest secrets to success were. And one of them was peer group. Okay. You need to be around people that are thriving, that are pushing you and holding you accountable and excited about your progress and your success. And that's why, like, the Warrior Group is a great example of that. When somebody does a deal or they get their website done or they go look at a property, they're posting it in our private Facebook group and everybody's congratulating them, excited about it, because you want to be around people that aren't afraid of your success. Most people will default to their peer group is people they go to school with or they work with, like in your case, Eyal, and you're not proactively, but you have obviously by joining the Warrior Group, but you've got to proactively choose your peers, because I'm going to tell you, show me your 3 friends, I'll show you who you are, period. Okay. So you want to be around people that expect more, that want more, and that aren't going to be jealous or afraid or intimidated by your success or your desire for success. And even maybe sometimes it's their love for you, which is probably the case with that guy. He loves you. He didn't want to lose you. He sees that you're growing beyond him. So you've got to be so proactive about who you hang out with. But you agree with me, Eyal?
100%. And that's what actually made me go on my own, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm going to circle back to that question that you asked me about speed bumps. And I'm going to say, I feel like a lot of people have a speed bump because they get too comfortable, to be honest.
Yeah.
They get too comfortable in life. They get married. They have their kid. It's just a routine. They become robots. And if you could step away from that comfort level, like my quote says on my phone is, what does it say? I'm sorry. I'm going to.
Well, I'll tell you a quote. I'll tell you Tony Robbins.
Everything you ever wanted is on the other side of fear.
That's right. On the other side of fear and on the other side of comfort too.
Yes.
You could say comfort as the last word there. Tony Robbins has got a great quote. The quality of your life is in direct proportion to the amount of discomfort you can live with. Okay. And I will tell you, if you sit and think about every amazing thing you've ever done in your life and you look back on it, you'll recognize that you got a little uncomfortable to do it, that you had to push yourself a little bit. But, and I know that's the case with me. Well, listen, brother, it's great to see your happy, smiling face. And I know I'll see you again soon. Mark, good to see you, brother. Appreciate you sharing some wisdom, Eyal, and
thanks,
Eyal. Appreciate you being on, my friend.
Guys, thank you very much.
All right.
And I could cross this off the bucket list.
All right. Take care, buddy. See you later.
All right. See ya.
Rod, I know a lot of our listeners are wanting to take their multifamily investing business to the next level. Now, I know you've been hard at work helping our Warrior students do just that using our ACT methodology, which is awareness, close, and transform. Can you explain to the listeners how they can get our help?
You bet. Guys, we've been going nonstop for 3 years, building an amazing community of like-minded people. And our coaching students, which we call our Warriors, have had extraordinary results. They've purchased thousands and thousands of units. And last year, we did over 1,000 units with our students. And we're looking to grow this group and take it to the next level. We're looking for people who want to follow a proven framework that's really step by step, and then leverage our systems and network to raise equity, to find and close deals, and to build partnerships nationwide. Now, our warrior community is finding success in any market cycle. So if you're interested in finding out more about how you can become more of our incredible network and take advantage of the incredible opportunities that are coming very soon, apply to work with us at mentorwithrod.com or text CRUSH to 72345 and we'll set up a call so you can check us out and we can check you out. That's mentorwithrod.com or text CRUSH to 72345.